Hello, this is Captain. Welcome to the Build Challenge Mic. So the Build Challenge Mic was to make a pallet cargo plane. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rules. Build Challenge Mic. This challenge is to build a cargo airplane, no VTOL. Must carry the 2 pallets provided. You must include the pallets preloaded in the airplane. They will start locked to the gripper tracks. I will not load and unload them, but you must make sure that they can be loaded and unloaded on your airplane, i.e. ramp hatch, etc. The build size limited to the FJ Warner hangar, 137 long by 143 by 37 blocks high. No XML blocks may exceed the build area. Infinite electric and fuel off. Vehicle damage on. No glitches, no pivot rocket wheel. Exhaust deletion, negative mass, invisible micros, or any other glitches. New build not previously released to the workshop or started prior to the challenge rules. XML cosmetic only. Must cost less than $90,000. Must be an airplane. All microcontrols and components must be made by you. Nothing from the workshop. Power diesel, modular, jet turbine, or turboprop testing methodology. I will spawn the airplane at FJ Warner, fly to and land at Clark. Grading, spirit of the challenge. How well does it conform to the spirit of the challenge? Human factors. How well am I able to interact with it? Handling, 1 to 10. Handling, 1 to 10. Aesthetics, 1 to 10. Workshop page, 1 to 10. Winners, there'll be a points winner, Captain's favorite, and community favorite. Winners will be featured in the end credits of my videos. Until the next challenge, winners will have Discord roles added. The C2 Monolith container cargo jet. So a nice thumbnail here, with a little bit of branding on there. Some good picks to go through here. By Oofertaffy. Features 230 knots, cruising speed less than 79,000. Equipment needed for career. Instrument need to navigate. Altitude hold, heading hold, crossfeed capabilities. Spacious cockpit nose opens very large cargo bay with 2 container capacity and even more modules. FBW auto trim system. Warning caution system to warn problems. Fly-by-wire system. Alright, cautions warning. Nose unlock. So let's go through the checklist while we run the plane. Alright, so I like the paint job. Paint job's quite unique. Good work on that. Let's go ahead and take a walk around here. So, Tri-Jet, the era of the Tri-Jet is good to see back in. Tri-Jets were always my favorite when I was a kid, before they started doing E-tops. But I like the paint job. Paint job's cool. It big. Alright, how does one get in here? Let's check over here. We have fueling ports. Would be kind of cool to see that in a little door underneath, just to make it so that they weren't pokey. We got a gear wells here. Okay, we can go in through the gear well. Alright, so why are there 3 pallets in here? 2 pallets was what the challenge wanted. I guess you put an extra one in here. Let's just go by what I asked for, please. Thank you. Alright, so that's the nose. The entire nose of the cockpit goes up. Alright, that is interesting and different. Let's go ahead and close those. What do we have here? We have ropes for cargo. Let's go ahead and go in. Got a little bit barren in here. A lot in here, but it's pretty barren. What's down here? Anything interesting? No, we can go in through the nose wheel as well. Gotcha. Alright. Alright, let's see if I can't do a quick start here. Got 1 and 2. Alright. Here, engine 1. There we go. Alright, that would be it. Alright, good. Mode to 3 is normal. Park brake comes off. Yeah, if I sit too long in the hangar, you know, the builds will slide. That's just a game thing. So the builds slide from one side to the other. Alright. Alright, let's see what's after. Takeoff checklist, middle console, parking brake release, flaps 1 to 2, depending on the length of runway. Okay, so I'll just, guess. Generally, you would tell me what you want for takeoff. Generally, it's, 1 notch of flaps for takeoff, so we'll do that. Max throttle, rotations 120, VR. V1 120, VR is 130. Alright, so let's go ahead and taxi out there. be nice if the devs would extend the taxiway all the way down the other end of the runway. I don't want to back taxi and have to turn around, so. See if I can make it off in this short amount of runway. 3 turbines, I hope we can. Good to see conventional scheme that I usually like to use. WSAD up, down, left, right. That works well, so you can fly everything you need. Alright, we're on the runway here. Full throttle. Alright, trying to find my airspeed indicator. I don't see where it is. Airspeed right there, so 170. Okay. Alright, positive rate. Where's gear? Usually gear would be right there. I don't know where gear is, though. Let's look. Oh, shit. Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. Ugh. Just saved it. Alright, let's find this gear. Altitude heading right there. Okay, it's that. Alright, so gear's coming up. Alright, after lane checklist, gear up. Okay, it does say it, but again, so we're good. It says gears on the Lewis screen. Just took me a minute to find it. Alright, let's see. Gear down, arm the speed brakes. 140 knot approach speed, flaps 4. Okay, so that should be good. Alright, what speed? We're doing 220 is fine. We can drop the gear, there we go. Alright, transit. Start slowing down. Alright, there's the airport. I'm doing engine mode. Alright, flaps 4. 140 knot approach speed. Slow down. Just slow down a little bit when we get closer. I don't know why it's speeding back up when I pull the thrust back. I'm pulling the thrust back and then it speeds back up, so I don't know why it's doing that. It doesn't have good granular control in the speed. There we go. Yeah, that started to stabilize. It was going up and down, so I don't know why it was doing that. Could just be a PID thing, but it seems stabilized right now. All right. I've got this post right in front of me. I don't know why you're using these windows where there's a post right in front of the... Like, literally, my view is right here, so that's a little distracting. I would extend the window all the way over and use a different window so you can see. But good lineup here, 140, right on the money now. I don't know why the devs put plateaus and shit right in front of the runway. It doesn't make any sense to block the runways with objects, as you wouldn't be doing that in real life, as you'd friggin' hit them, so... Doesn't make sense. So, like, I'm a little high because I had to go over the plateau. A little bit of kick there, pull some power. Alright, brakes, brakes, brakes. Alright, so very cool paint job. I really like the paint job. I like that it can load cargo containers. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the tipping nose with the cockpit. I think it would be, personally, I would prefer, you know, having a side door on this, like you would on a DC-10 L1011 or MD-11. And then, of course, the proportions of the tail are off because of the restrictions of the challenge. But again, that was, you know, the point of the challenge is, you know, to haul 2 pallets, you don't really need something. This is way overkill. But very cool paint job. I like that. Starter procedure wasn't bad once I kind of got through it. There are some things that are a little bit weird for, you know, what you'd have in a commercial jet. But again, you know, Oofer asked for some input on that. But for the most part, pretty straightforward. I like that you did the screens yourself, so cool build, and thanks for submitting. And here's the next build. This is the Pelican. So nice thumbnail here, as you can see. good branding on that, some good pictures. As you can see, it's designed to be an older aircraft, so we get the black and white photos. A lot of nice photographs here, really showcasing the build, and I like the thumbnail. This is by Alistair. This is the challenge version, meaning it is spawned with the pallets, the Pelican 1928 cargo aircraft. There's a Discord link there. Go ahead and check out Alistair's Discord. Description: Pelican design was presented to the stout metal aircraft in 1925, and the final perfect design was released for purchase on the 23rd of April 1928, only 23 were made, out of which 4 were sold to the company who used it to transport supply to islands and hard-to-reach areas such as logging camps. The other 19 were all scrapped and dumped into the ocean since they were not powerful enough to carry large amounts of cargo reliably. They also cost a ton to run and maintain. This is the last Pelican, according to our records. It was kept in a hangar and later found in 2017 and brought back to life to its full glory. It still, to this day, fulfills its duties. I assume that's fulfills its duties of transporting medium amounts of cargo at an incredible cost and very high risk. Very nice to have a GIF here. This plane requires manual trimming if the stabilizers are in use. Cruise speed 130 knots. Max takeoff weight 10,784 kilograms. We're not going to go through all the specifications here, but it's nice to have them all here. We have payload, fuel capacity, dimensions, so go ahead and take a check at that. We'll just look. Cruise throttle is 100%. VR is for rotation, that's 100 knots. VREF is 95 to 100, and service ceiling is 4,000. It's a multi-twin, 2 engines. We'll go through all these procedures as I go ahead and operate the vehicle. All right, here we are with the Pelican. So let's go ahead and first we'll start with a walk around. So very cool here. I like the overall design of it. I like the backstory, and I like how it's supposed to be an old Johnny. I like the Pelican on the rear here. Let's quickly just look around. Nice detailing here on the engine. Very, very big exhaust. You'd see that on a turboprop. Nice big exhaust. Generally on a turboprop, because it does give some of the some thrust off of that. All right, very cool here. Just keep continuing the walk around. So there was a rotating beacon. I saw that feature earlier, but I do like that's a good, cool Pelican on there. I like to see that. All right, so there's some innovative features in here. We have, let's go ahead and jump in here. So we'll just go ahead to the rear. Some external features to make it a little bit more realistic. So let's go ahead and open up this door here. Let's go up into the cockpit. So we're in the cargo bay here. As you can see, the pallets are preloaded as they're supposed to be. Let's go ahead and jump up in here. And we'll just jump in the pilot seat. All right, so starter procedure, cockpit and system breakers on. So let's see, where were those? Oh, I think they're behind me. There is a video, so cockpit and system breakers are on there. Rotating beacon on. We'll just go ahead and turn that on there. Engine 1, 2, fuel pumps on. Let's go ahead and find those. Engine 1, fuel pump. Engine 2, fuel pump are on. Engine 1 and 2 masters are coming on. Spin prop 1 until started. Spin prop 2 until started. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start the engines here. So I'm just going to crouch and get out. A little bit dangerous doing this. All right, we got that one started up. All right, let's go ahead and start the other one. This is kind of a cool feature to have a manual start here. Very dangerous. Kind of like hand propping. Very cool with the sound. I like that. That's a cool feature. All right. Also, we want to remove the chocks. This is the chock here, so let's make sure it's well labeled. As you can see, remove wheel chock. Cool little feature there. So you have to get out and actually remove the chocks. Be cognizant of the propellers. All right, good. So let's go ahead and get back in. And we'll shut this door behind us here. And head up. Let's go this way. Just jump right into the seat here. All right, so pre-taxi checklist. We want to do, let's see, left and right wheel chocks have been removed. Applicable lights on, so we're going to go ahead and we'll do position lights, taxiway lights. That's good. All right, let's go ahead and look at the H menu. AD is tilt. That would be roll. WS, that would be pitch, I assume. Left, right is yaw. Space of the brakes, 1 is throttle up and 2 is throttle down. So not my preferred method of throttle. Let's go ahead and release the parking brake. Parking brake's off. All right, we'll taxi up. So let's see. It's cool that if you look there, you can see the rudder pedals are moving as I turn, which is cool. I like that. All right. So parking brake is off. Throttles we'll just use as applicable. Flaps, if it says if empty, no flaps needed. Fully loaded, set flaps to 2. So let's go ahead and do that. That's 1 and 2. So full flaps for, for takeoff's a little weird IRL, but it works in game, so that's all that matters. All right, let's go ahead with 1. Again, I prefer up down, but we'll go ahead full throttle. And we'll just let it kind of settle here. All right, are we going to get to 100 knots? Come on there, let's go, 100 knots. Okay, we're going to need more runway. All right, so we took off. That took a lot of runway to get off, so may have been something I did, but pretty sure I followed the instructions there. Let's go ahead and check airspeed. Yeah, we're at 84 knots here. I'm at full throttle, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I want to put some flap up here. I'm going to double check, make sure it said go to flap 2. I'm pretty damn sure it did say go to flap 2, so. Yeah, it says if fully loaded, set flaps to 2. I'm curious if with flaps at 2, it just caused enough drag and slowed us down. Alright, so it flies pretty well. Again, manual trim on this. Again, it's supposed to be an old aircraft. You have to trim modern aircraft. It's something a lot of people don't think you need to do in aircraft. In-game, you do. You know, you have to do it IRL, so it's pretty normal to do in game. Just most people are used to flying, you know, very simplified planes and games, and you don't have that. All right, we have microphone frequency there. Let's go ahead over some of the stuff while we head over there. I don't know what CHT is. Oh, that looks like fuel. That's voltage, 6 volts. Is interesting. Bearing 2, stabilizer, artificial horizon over there. There's the navigator seat. I like the wiring detail there. Alright. Still have a notch of flaps to go up. Let's get ready for landing. So, it doesn't say anything with flaps for landing. That is generally where you're going to... So generally what you would do is you'd have a, you know, before taxi checklist, a taxi checklist, a takeoff checklist. You know, you might have a run-up checklist if you're going to do run-up, but, and then you would have after landing or after takeoff checklist, then cruise, before landing checklist, after landing checklist, and then shutdown. That's generally what you're going to have here. All right, we're coming up on Clark. Flying well, feels nice and heavy. It feels old. It's not overly powerful. You know, like we're only going 10 knots faster than our takeoff. Not sure what happened with the takeoff there, why it was a little bit wonky. So kind of the reason I brought up the checklist is with the landing checklist, it doesn't tell me if I'm using flaps or not. So again, I'm going to assume that I'm not using flaps for landing, which is kind of the opposite. You do use flaps for takeoff, especially in larger aircraft. You'll use, like, say, 1 notch of flap. If you say you had 4 notches of flaps, you'd use 1 notch potentially for takeoff, and you'd use, you know, like all 4 notches for 3 or 4 notches for landing. So it's a little bit strange, kind of a little bit backwards, but we'll follow what it says here. All right, so it's a little bit tough for me. One of the reasons why I like having up-down is I literally, here we go. This is where my problem's going to start. I have to take my fingers off WSAD to now control my thrust. And so when I should be coordinating thrust and pitch, especially on landing, I can't do both at once. And that's why I like the up-down. Is you see, now I'm trying to pitch correctly, and I have to reach and take my fingers off of pitch to power. What is going on here? Okay. So, like, I see nothing now, and I can't control my power and my pitch at the same time. That's why, like, up-down arrow, I can actually use all my controls. So, a little bit, it definitely seems underpowered. You know, I was struggling there. I went full throttle and was, at like 80 knots. I would personally, again, like I said, I like up-down arrows for the thrust because again, I can pitch with WS and I can control my thrust. And if we had any wind, oh, we have problems here. We're gonna have problems here. Pushing on the down arrow reflexively. Yeah, so I like having WSAD. That allows me to do all control surfaces. And then I have my other hand on up, down, left, right, and I can do yaw and power. So I can do everything. 1 and 2, I'm not a huge fan at for the throttle, but very cool plane. I like the look of it. Let's put the parking brake on real quick. Very cool plane. I like the look of it. I like the story about it. It's kind of an older designed airplane. Really like the interior here in the cockpit. That is very cool. Let's just quickly shut down the engines. Very cool there with the heater there, cockpit lamps. There's a lot to check out here, so go ahead and check this one out. Let's go ahead and it says cargo door, ramp up, ramp down. Let's go ahead and open the cargo door. And we're supposed to be looking out the sides to see, and then we want to do the ramp. And I believe Alistair said that if it's having problems, do it again. Let's see. We get on the ramp and get it to come down here. Go ahead and outside and see what's up. But so it does have the ramp, so that does give it a way to load. It's just being a little bit particular, a little bit sticky there. Let's see if I can't get this opened. Yeah, I don't know what the dealio is with this ramp. Ramp's kind of sticking here. So, really cool plane. I like all the design work on it. Again, I would switch over 1-2 to up-down. I think that would be a lot better for controllability. I don't know what was up with that takeoff. Followed the instructions with flaps 2. When fully loaded, it's fully loaded. And, one thing that generally speaking, if you're going to have a tail dragger, you don't want it flat because you need some sort of angle of attack. And with a tail dragger, I can't get the wheel to compress in the rear. So you really want, what I would also do is I would increase the diameter of these mains, or I would bring them down 1 block so that it has some angle of attack when it takes off. That's how you're going to get in the air. So, cool build, and let's move on to the next one. And here's the next build, the ATR-72 transporter aircraft. So, a nice thumbnail here. Good work on that. Bunch of cool pictures here to showcase the build. So, that's some good work there. By Dragon9, also known as Zizo. All right, meet the ATR-72. Hey, everybody, meet the ATR-72, my original transport aircraft from my challenge. Mike, equipped with 2 powerful turboprop engines. Cruise speed is 225 knots, making it perfect for small cargo hauls. Designed for easy handling, it's ideal for transporting pallets, offering reliability and efficiency in the sky. Ready to move some cargo, the ATR-72 is your trusted aviation partner. So a really cool image in there with some good work on that. Specifications: cruise speed 225 knots, ceiling altitude 15,000 feet, max cargo weight 7.5 tons, range 100 kilometers to 63, or I guess 100 kilometers or 63 nautical miles. Cost 81,000, which is under the limit, which is good to see. Controls, cool to see the center pedestal here. WS pitch AD roll up down. Arrow is thrust. I like to see that. Left right is yaw, and nose wheel steering. Space is variable brake. All right, we have the prop brake, main power, fuel systems on the overhead panel here. This is very cool to show the panels. I like this. That's a really good addition to the workshop page. So it shows me where my lights are. Even in this showing just like the different sections of where the panel is, that's pretty cool. I like to see that. Let's go through the checklist real quick. We'll be going through all this, but we have a pre-flight. We have cockpit preparation, startup, taxi, takeoff, after takeoff, approach, and landing. So that's a good set there, and you can like it and favorite it there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the build. All right, so here we are with the ATR. So pre-flight is flight planning, weather checks are complete, exterior inspection. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll walk around. Look for oil, anything leaking. Look at the general design here. So there's a FedEx feeder here. Turboprops, good detailing out here. Looks like we have the old fakey ailerons there. Some strakes. Looks like some refueling here. Good paint job there. Yeah, it's got all those fake control surfaces. I generally just put real control surfaces, but to each their own. Looks nice. All right, let's go ahead and head in. So cockpit preparation, we can do that. So that's the side door, and then this is the cargo door. So again, I'm not loading these in. They have to be preloaded, and you have to have the ability to load them. So this has the ability to be loaded. So that was just a rule so that you didn't have something that could not be loaded at all. All right, so let's close that up. So we have the pallets inboard here. We have a Sleepy and some City back here. All right, we have the cargo. You know, a little bit basic on color, but again, IRL, especially utility builds, kind of have that. But the floor is really good detailing, so that's nice. I like all the floor detailing. Very cool. What is that? That's a maintenance hatch that locks. That's a neat detail. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and jump in. Like the overall design in here. Looks good. Let's see. Master power and avionics. All right, let's just quickly go through these. Prop brake there. Alternator fuel valve, alternator. I'm just looking through everything here. So master power right there. Avionics are coming on. Temperature control, we'll ignore cabin and cockpit and cabin lights were good. Nav lights. Go ahead and do we have a beacon? I'm gonna put the beacon on. The beacon would generally go pre-startup. Okay, I see nav lights. Generally, you don't turn the nav lights on unless you're unless nighttime, or the weather, low ceilings. Beacon lights are on engine 1 and engine 2 fuel valves. So let's go ahead and find those. So engine 1 fuel valve, they're in a logical place. I'm gonna go ahead and start 1 and then start 2. So we'll do let's see. Engine 1 and engine 2 fuel valve. Okay. Engine 1, engine 2 fuel pump. Okay, that's good. Engine 1 and engine 2 starter. Let's see if we can find where those are. There's alternator there. Let's see if I can find where the starters are. I'm just going through everything, make sure I've seen it. Cabin lights, cockpit lights, temperature control. Click that on. He did say to do it. Engine 1 starter. We'll start the second one in case we get any adverse yaw. Right. That started. We turn on engine 1 alternator. And we'll turn on engine 2 alternator. Parking brake and prop brake release. You would not have a prop brake on something like this, so I don't know why they're on there. I would just have it automatically spool them up. Take the parking brake off. I want to taxi out of here before we have problems. So. All right, so we're out. Taxi light. It's daylight, so we don't need it. Some really cool panels in here. I like that. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and we'll take off. We'll use the whole runway. We taxi pretty fast in this. We're a little bit faster than the last one. All right, so we'll go ahead. Taxi checklist pretty simple. Is just release the parking brake and prop brake. Yeah, I wouldn't put a prop brake on. There's no prop brake on a turboprop generally. You would just once the turbine starts, you can clutch it in. That's usually what I do. Is once the turbine is up and running, I just have the clutch slowly come in and it will attach the propeller. Takeoff landing lights full power, rotate at 120 knots. So we have knots again. Somebody else doing the rudder pedals are just a little different take on there. A little wiggle instead of pushes. Rotate at 120 knots. All right, so we have knots here. That's a stall warning. Compass, artificial horizon, VSI, heading, thrust. Let's see, that's altitude, clock, heading hold, and altitude hold, I would assume. Engine 1, 2 RPM, temps, stable. Reverse thrust there, thrust lever, flaps. Says nothing for flaps for takeoff, so we'll go without any flaps for takeoff. Alright, we'll taxi over. Some of them, if I know they're going to be able to take off, I'll probably just take straight off from the middle of the field, but needing to get up to 120 knots, so make sure I have enough runway here. Alright, center line, and we'll head out. Alright, there's 120. Positive rate. Landing gear up. Let's see. Landing gear. Taxi land. I didn't turn on the lights, but we have our lights here. Should have put all those on. So after takeoff checklist, taxi and landing lights can come off. So taxi lights can go off, and landing lights can go off. All right. So we're up to 218. So one thing that happens in real life is when you roll an aircraft, it will start to turn. The upper wing wants to go faster than the lower wing, causing you to turn. So generally what I do and what a lot of us will do is add a little bit of auto rudder in there, essentially, to simulate what it would be like IRL. I would suggest that. Or if you have it in there, add some more. Because generally all you have to do is roll to turn, especially in a twin. You don't need much rudder. Single engine, you do because of P factor and torque. Generally P factor. And so I would make it, the way I usually do it is on roll tilt. So the more roll tilt, the more yaw you get, because the greater your roll angle, the more you're going to turn. And so that's generally what I do. So I put the physics sensor, the more the roll tilt, the more it will put in some yaw. All right, let's see. Approach. Reduce speed to 140 knots. Flaps down to flaps 40. Landing gear down 3 green. Landing lights on. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll get ready here. Landing lights coming on. Your taxi will also go on for landing. Generally, the hierarchy is this. You want to slow down below your gear extension speed. You want to extend your gear. Generally, the reason you're doing this is with most larger aircraft, they're pretty slippery. You need the gear to slow down. We don't get much drag off them, if at all, in game, so it doesn't really matter. But that's generally its gear before flaps. You don't have a flap speed, which is fine, but generally what you would do is you would have some flap speed in there of max flap extension. I'm just going to go ahead. Okay, there we go. I see I see what it's doing. 20, 40, 60. I was trying to see where it was showing me flaps. All right, so 140 knot approach speeds. That's probably a touch high, but it's definitely within the normal realm. You know, I think ATR is probably slower than 140 IRL, but you know, in jets we're coming in at like 120, 130. So I don't know why they have a plateau right off the end of the runway. But 137 knots is looking good. All right, so that's approach landing. Okay, so generally this is going to be on your landing checklist. You know, you'd have all this, but it's fine. Oh, I got speed up here. So it's showing me 100 to 105 knots on the landing checklist. Okay, so some of that stuff I was reading as the landing checklist was actually in the approach checklist. So 100 to 105 knots. All right, flaps down to 60. They are all the way down to 60. Best vertical speed. Okay, that doesn't really matter. You'd want to be stabilized, but again, you would use the descent rate necessary. We'll trim just a little bit here. There we go. Pretty good approach angle here. There is a, of course, we got a some sort of track switcher right at the end of the runway, which is pretty silly. All right, a little bit of power here. We're getting a little slow here, or a couple knots slow. It's not too bad. There we go. I don't want to float too much. All right, aim for the aiming bars. Start to pull it back. All right, very nice. That landed very well. Handles well. Cool to see a turboprop here. Really like the cockpit a lot. There's really good detailing in the cockpit here. There are definitely some things that I would like to try myself and I think are cool. I like the general color scheme in the cockpit here. I like the center pedestal and the detailing you put in here to make it look like a pedestal on the overhead, and I like the center pedestal here. I like some of your panels here, pretty cool. Color scheme is really fitting. I like the rudder pedals again. I'm seeing more of that, and that's pretty neat. I would get rid of the first aid kit in the middle there. Yeah, I'd put it somewhere else. But that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and tap the brakes. Go ahead and set the parking brake. And let's go ahead and shut down. All right, so very cool airplane. This really fit the bill. Flies really, really well. Nice to see the checklist. A couple of checklist things were a little bit atypical, but that's perfectly fine. And so a really cool build, and thanks for submitting. And here's the next build, the Palletwolf medium cargo plane. So we have synthetic vision. Good pictures here showing all the different parts and the loading ramp there. I like that. Created by Muffin. Description: in a world of rising tides and waning antitrust regulation, the logistics, a behemoth merged in an unholy alliance to become DPEX. With their monopoly secured, DPEX then lobbied the government into designing their ideal plane, a medium-range turboprop climate control cabin built for 2 pilots and 1 crew member. A long cost-saving measure, the government repurposed a canceled ASW plane, and the C-210 Palletwolf was born. As you're putting pilots out of work, you'll lose points on that. That would be a human factor loss. All right, let's quickly read this. The main entrance to the cabin is located at the right side of the aircraft forward of the propeller. The door can be operated with buttons on the exterior and just inside the entrance. Upon entering immediately to your left, the buttons which control the cabin door. Below them is the electric cabinet containing the isolated main and starter batteries and first aid kits. Next to the bulkhead door leading to the cargo compartment. In front of you is the handle controlling the cargo winch and control panels for various cargo bay functions. Some of these controls are duplicated on the exterior of the plane under the tail just after the cargo bay. As the sole crew member responsible for all loading operations, coverage is not particularly important to us, and crouching may be required to traverse forward to the cockpit. On your way, a small cabinet containing repair tools and parachute. Any abandonment of the aircraft mid-flight will result in prosecution of the fullest extent of the law by DPX legal. Just behind the pilot head to the right is the camera watching you remove, and behind that is a small lavatory with no door. One seat at the controls and turn various systems are all to your right. To your left is the throttle, park, and brake controls, thrust reverser for back taxi only, and beta thrust. Seat controls, WS pitch AD, roll, left, right, yaw, nose wheel steering, up, down is the throttle, spacebar, wheel brakes. 1 is zoom in the map, 2 is zoom out the map, AP enable, disable, 4 instrument declutter, disable synthetic vision, and simplifies display. So let's go ahead and take a look at the build. Right, so this build is about 60 grand, so that's definitely within the limits. Supposed to be a, kind of a modern futuristic design where they're, destroying careers and getting rid of pilots so that when somebody has a problem, the plane crashes instead of just having the other pilot take over and giving the pilot more workload. DPX, so I like the paint job here. Another turbo prop. We got a tail number on there. What is all this here? Taft pallet locks and chocks, call winch, and the ramp. All right, let's go ahead and let's go ramp down real quick to look at the ramp. All right, very cool pallet in there. All right, let's see. Your first and only option. Okay, there's the other door here. So that opens the interior door too. So that is, what's that, mid position and then down position. So let's go up. There we go. So nice ramp on there. Let's go ahead and jump in. Hiya. Okay. Close that. We have open, close door right there. Engine maintenance access. Let's see if I can look for that real quick. Okay, so that opens the front bay for access. All right, that's a cool feature there. Go ahead in here. We have a winch control for controlling the winch here on top, as you can see, to load the pallets. That's a cool idea. Ramp up and down, so we can do a ramp there. And here is our cargo. As you can see, just no clip real fast. We have the 2 pallets preloaded as required. So that's good. What is that? Okay, I just saw the blue and was like, do we have water in here? We do not. All right, good. So let's go ahead and get in here. Close that door there. All right. What's this? We have parachute. Hopefully we don't need it. We kind of have to crouch. So human factors and ergonomics are not pleasant in here. And what do we just have? Bathroom right there. So that should smell good after a long flight. A little bit of blue juice. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll check out the starter procedure here. So cabin lights as required. Let's go ahead and take a look around. So reverse, beta, release parking brakes, throttle. It'd be thrust, or it would be, well, it wouldn't even be that. It would be torque on a turboprop. But let's go ahead. We'll do the beacon on. Landing light, let's see. Cabin lights, cargo, chem climb, avionics, engine master 1 and 2. What is this one behind me? That is the unload, control logic. Okay, so avionics. And then I would, okay, so we get avionics on, nav lights are on. We'll follow the checklist there. Beacon is on, engine 1 and 2 master switches on. Okay. Observe both engines stabilized. Okay, they are starting up. There we go. All right, so it says observe both engines stabilized, greater than 20 on engine display, both starter. Okay, so waiting up for these to come up to 20. Indicator lights extinguished. All right, and then before taxi, input navigation waypoints in a whole paragraph. Taxi lights, do that at night. You know, it would be taxi lights generally as required. Autopilot, prepare, select channels desired. Okay, taxi, hold brake, spacebar. Hold brake, spacebar. Release parking brake on the left side. Okay, release parking brake on the left side. It says this will let the propeller blades out of neutral, labeling the automatic constant speed propeller system, and also allow you to advance the throttle out of the idle position. Steer with left, right, and the keyboard buttons. All right, now just taxi as necessary. I understand why you're like trying to teach me how to fly your plane in the checklist, but I think it's better, like, you know, better to have a checklist standard, and then like I can learn it in the paragraphs above. All right, let's see. All right, so I'm gonna ignore that paragraph there, and we'll go right down to brakes, 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 brakes. All right. So I'll just check takeoff. Strobes coming on. Autopilot we don't need. Taxi lights coming on for takeoff. Let's see. It says throttle, idle, hold brakes. Wait for the nose wheel center. Advance to full throttle. Hold S through takeoff until airborne. So kind of like a soft field takeoff. Generally, you'd have a rotation speed. What speed do you want me to rotate? So it says expect takeoff at 80. Again, not really a checklist. But let's see. Ensure climb and obstacle clear. Raise landing gear. All right, that'll be on the after takeoff checklist generally for raise landing gear, but that's fine. Doesn't say turn on the. Oh Jesus! I got the landing light next to the landing gear. Hopefully those won't retract. Landing light would be on for takeoff. Let's go ahead and hit it. All right, so expecting 80 knots. There's 80. All right, positive rate gears coming up. All right, let's go ahead. Cruise, no RPM limitation. Okay, landing. Glide slope marker switch on. See if I can find that. Take a turn here as we're going to get there. So again, another plane that doesn't do any sort of simulation of a turn. So there's no yaw factor in here, so I shouldn't be able to. That might be a little bit. I can't tell. It might be a little bit there. Okay, we're turning now, so I think it's probably is in there. But like this is what should happen. You should be able to roll the especially a twin, and not have to kick the rudder to get it moving. So this is doing it. All right, good. Let's see, landing speed on final. I'm just trying to quickly read this. I got to find the glide slope marker here. Let's see, cabin lights, cargo, engine. I do not see it. Let's see. All right, so I'm doing a visual landing anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We'll go ahead and turn right back down. So it says speed touch. So it says speed on final 92. I missed something here. All right, let's start getting ready here. So gears coming down. Confirm 3 green. We've got 3 green. So no flaps. Speed on touch. Speed on approach is 92 to 98. All right, auto brakes. I'm gonna just do brakes manually. Again, I want to feel the plane, see how it flies. All right, there is Clark right there, kind of on extended base. The neat little, some of these are neat. The HUD's neat. I like the vertical speed there is pretty neat. So some neat gauges in here. I'm like, if I bank a twin this much, we're probably at that rate of turn right there. So I would add more rudder if you're doing rudder. Again, I use the physics sensor, and as the plane, the more it rolls, the more rudder it puts in. Generally what I do. Alright. A little fast here, trying to slow down. Still a little fast. Got a pretty good low approach speed with having no flaps. That just destroyed the speed right there. Just went. I'm trying to get speed back. Come on, give me some speed back. Wow, it just. Oh my God, what's it doing? It went from like 120 down to 80, and then I was like panicking trying to get the speed back up, and it goes back up to 140. So a little bit less of a granular thrust than I would like. I should be able to keep my airspeed within 1 knot of what I want. So a little bit off that. I like the moving map. The moving map's a cool detail there. All right, let's go ahead and set the brake here. All right, so really cool plane. I like the story of it. I like how it's supposed to be a futuristic thing where they put somebody out of work. It's kind of neat. Again, checklists are. I'm glad you put all the checklists in. The only thing I would say is, again, checklists should just be the line items. Go ahead online, search for checklist for a turboprop, twin engine turboprop, and see what it looks like. And then you can kind of it's kind of cool just to learn that as well. But cool build. Thanks for sharing. Unfortunately, this build has to be disqualified. It is in the rules that you have to preload the pallets. This one does not have any pallets in here, so no preloaded pallets. So unfortunately, we have to disqualify. All right, Two Palms Co. HC648 Earth Overseer. Very cool thumbnail there. I like that a lot. Good work on that. Some good pictures here. Very cool thumbnail. All right, by York. There's a lot of text here. I'm not going to go through all this text, so go ahead and read this on your own. I like a checklist. If you looked at the other competitors, they have a nice checklist. The whole point of a checklist is you do the procedure. For example, landing checklist. Landing checklist. Gears down. Flaps are set. Lights are set. Landing checklist complete. That is the landing checklist. And it's very easy to go through the checklist to make sure the items are done. But let's go ahead and take a look at the build. Right, I really like the look of this build. Very cool. I like the shape of it. Nose came out really good. I like that. I like the overall general wing and engine design on there is good. Let's keep walking here. Very good job on the paint there. Excellent. Here's the ramp out back. How does one get in this beast here? I believe it's in the front. Let me look here. Right there. All right. There's the aircraft door. Let's go ahead and get in. How doth one closeth thy door? There we go, right there. All right, lavatory. All right, that's cool. I like the lavatory on that. Batteries, a little bit of decoration, Coca-Colas, so you can have your high fructose corn syrup. Galley down here. Have 2 pallets loaded in. Very cavernous interior on here. Let's keep walking there, guy. There we go. Got view out there. Does this go anywhere? What is that about? Not sure. It looks like engineering station here, could be flight engineer here, and then radio operator there. All right, let's go ahead. Get inside startup, a bit long, but pretty simple. Under the nose, rectangle, outlined with red. Okay, that's where we went in. You to see the stairs on the left. You can take up second floor. Once upstairs, look back and find the engineering station. The engineering station, start the engine, do the following. Hit the 2 red circuit breakers. They provide power. Okay, those are on. Below circuit breakers should be 4 flip switches and 4 dials. These are fuel tanks. So pick which fuel valves to open. Okay. All right. Fuel valves are open. After that, look at the left panel with the 4 arrow. Okay. Turn on engine systems and hold the starter button, the arrow button, until the engage engine reaches 220. All right. All right, that's looking good so far. All right, let's go ahead and jump on the seat here. All right. All right, so the rest of it, it's got some recommendations, but again, I need a checklist here. I can't read through paragraphs and paragraphs. I'm just going to wing it here. AD is roll, WS pitch, left, right is yaw, up, down is engine. Good to see that. Throttle, engine, throttle, / variable brakes. Okay, good. Engine, hard points for runway drop. Generally don't like the throttle attached to the brakes. Better have them independent. There are cases where you want both of them. Let's see. Again, that's the end of the instruction. There are some recommendations, but yeah, I don't see like a list. Like you would get a flow list IRL telling you how to do it, but we'll figure it out here. See if I can find a park brake. All right, Let's just try taxiing out. I don't know if the brakes are on. I don't know if the brakes are off. Looks like the brakes are not on. Just gonna use third person so I can get out. I like the camo. Paint job's really good. I like that. All right. So again, no, doesn't tell me anything how you want me to do flaps. I'm gonna look through the recommendations real fast, but it's like again, I can't read through paragraphs. I need checklists. All right. So I'm not seeing anything else for instruction here. So we'll just do what I do, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. All right, so I'm going to follow your instructions. So that's the end of your instructions. That's the end of me pressing buttons. So again, that's part of the workshop page is telling people how you want the aircraft run. And you've got a startup procedure, and that's it. So that's all I'm going to do. All right, so I'm just going to leave the gear down. There's no after takeoff checklist, so we'll just go without it. All right, flies well. Trying to see if it's putting in any yaw. It's hard to tell because it seems like a lot of people are doing the hidden control surfaces instead of making them actual work. Yeah, so like, see, plane should be going right. Again, I would add in a system that adds some rudder so that the plane, because all I need to do in a multi-engine plane like this is roll my wings to turn. I do not need to kick the rudder. So I would just, what I usually do is I do tilt sensor off physics sensor, and as it rolls, it adds some rudder. And then you can also add your own if you want to kick the rudder, like in real life. That will make it fly more realistically. Right, airspeed in knots there, artificial horizon, battery fuel, rain factor, vertical speed, yaw roll system, we'll leave that off. Flaps, again, I've got no instruction on what to do with flaps, so we're just not going to bother using them. I've got no instruction on gear, we're not going to use it. Yeah, a lot of competitors put a lot of effort into making checklists, and so I'm not going to, not gonna just wing it. You know, tell me how you want me to run your operation. A bunch of the other competitors did really good checklists where it was very easy to follow and know what they wanted you to do at what point. So, Alright, so we're on a left base for the runway here. I'm going to give it quite a bit of rudder to get turned. So you do not tell me what approach speed it is, so I guess that's my job to guess. So I will guess. I'm going to do a little bit of pitch trim here. And then it needs quite a bit of rudder to turn, so I'm going to kind of cut the base here, or else I'm going to end up running out of space. I'll overshoot, so. Flies nicely. I would just fix that yaw issue. Again, you should just be able to roll the wings, and it should, you know. That's just physics in real life compared to in the game. You don't have some of the forces you have in game, as you would in real life in game, so that's what most of us seem to be doing is as the wings roll, it adds some yaw. And that way, as you roll the plane manually, it will give it some yaw so that it actually acts like it would IRL. I wish they would get rid of that plateau again. It's kind of annoying that it's right there on the approach end of the runway. There's one on the other side, too. Alright, see, I can't just use my wings to get over there. Alright, very cool. So that was a nice landing there. Let's hit some... I think you said throttle down is also brakes. Yeah, it says up-down engine, variable throttle. Generally, I do spacebar. I like to have them independent. There's going to be times when you're going to want to have, you know, independent brakes. You know, for example, if you're going to do a static takeoff, you want to go full thrust with the brakes on to get the engine spooled up before you take off. Can't do that if it's like this. Alright, so I don't know if or there is a parking brake. Didn't see it anywhere. But cool vehicle. Really like the paint job. Really great job on the paint job. I like the nose. You did a great job on the nose. I like that a lot. Looks really, really good there. The cockpit inside is nice. I like the general layout of this. Checklists are just severely lacking. A lot of people put a lot of effort in the checklists, and again, I can't just read paragraph after paragraph to learn how to run each build. It just takes too much time. But thanks for a minute, and we'll move to the next one. And the next build is the T-Boomer Cargo Plane by Phil. So again, no photos, just basic, no thumbnail work at all. So scroll down here. We got a little bit of a workshop page, but again, compared to the competitors, pretty minimal. Brick-like twin boom airplane with stalling traits. Loaded with the challenge pallets. Well, good. Some of them decided not to do that, so you got that going for you. Speed 160, 2,600 liters, and cost 24,000. Flip the electric circuit breakers and the engine flip switches to start. Only then apply throttle. Auto-sable wheel brakes. Don't pitch up too much. With cargo or stall, co-pilot up-down can lower the rear landing gear pistons to facilitate different loading methods. Flight help with cargo, takeoff speed, send it. Stall speed, throttle is less than 120 knots. That's pretty fast. Lane speed 100 to 120 knots advised, and for my challenge. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the build. All right, so let's take a quick walk around the T-boom here. Very minimal on instruction. Exposed engines there. We got a big lump of something on there. Very aftward landing gear. Cargo bay door, clamshell on that. Door. So we have many, many door buttons on there. Okay, so fuel filler there. Very unconventional design. How do I get in this? Let's see. How does one get in this? Let's see. Do I have to crawl over the pallets? Can I walk around them? Let's see. Can walk around them. All right, good. That is good. All right, what do we got there? So we have a crawl in here because we're homunculi. Okay, so that's weird. All right, so we're in here. 80 is roll. W is pitch. Left, right is yaw steering up, down is variable wheel brakes. So that's going to be hard for me. I don't like that setup. 1 and 2 is throttle up and down. Release front connector. 6 is wheel brake. Okay, so a little bit of a different control scheme than I generally like. All right, so it says flip the electric circuit breaker and the engine flip. Let's find those. Left engine, right engine. Where's the electric circuit breaker? Here. All right. Landing gear, throttle. All right. Where's the circuit breaker here? I don't have to go there. It is right there. All right, perfect. Get that. Let's go ahead and start. All right. And then let's see. Let's say anything about parking brake, also disable wheel brake. All right, so wheel brake is 6. That's coming off. So that's parking brake, RPS, fuel, horizon. Okay. Let's go ahead and taxi out. So it's 1 and 2. So, all right, we're gonna have some control issues on final because again, I have to take my hands off of my pitch axis and my roll axis to be able to control my speed. So the FAA would have long ago decertified any of them with that control scheme, as it means you can't fly the airplane while you're trying to control your speed. All right, so we're off. It is fixed landing gear, so we don't need to raise the gear. All right, 100 to 120 on landing here. Let's head over to Clark and we'll put it in. So very basic design here on it. I like the shading on the paint there. That is a cool detail there. Definitely an unconventional bird. But I'm glad to see the pallets loaded in. I'm glad to see that it is under 90,000. We do get a, we are turning as I roll, which is good. That's what we want to see. So a little bit of simulated aerodynamic forces. Kind of a cool little wing design. I like that. It kind of reminds me of like a dragonfly or something. Alright, so we'll go ahead and we'll do a short, cut the base in a little bit on this. I won't cut it in too much because we got 120. We got 100 knot minimum speed. So, let's see, where's my speed? Right there, knots right there. All right, so let's see if I can do it without tapping the rudder at all, which is I can. So that's what you want. You want to be able to roll and not have to kick the rudder. So as you can see, I am not touching my rudder at all. Let's roll the wing up, take a look. That's a good base. Let's slow down here. Up, I keep forgetting that it's 1 and 2. So, the inferior control method. So again, I have to take my finger off WS here every time I need to control speed. IRL, you are controlling your speed in 2 ways on approach. You're controlling your speed with pitch and power. And by having this control scheme, you're unable to, do both pitch and power to control your speed. And so that's why I prefer that up-down, is I can actually fly properly with that setup. I have to take my hands off the controls. It would be like letting go of the steering wheel every time you want to slow down your car. All right, we're 100 knots there, and we stalled. All right, thanks for minute build. We'll move on to the next one. And moving on to the last build, this is the Bud RB1 Conestoga cargo plane. So really cool thumbnail there. I like that. A little dancing man in there. All right, very cool. Lots of good pictures here. We like to see it. All right, by Citrus. Bud Conestoga cargo plane. This is my submission for my challenge. Mike, it's a challenge to build a cargo plane that can haul at least 2 pallets. Pallets have been preloaded with the vehicle as requested, and it will be removed 24 hours. Release the vehicle. All right, there's the Discord specifications right there. All right, Citrus always does a good job on these books here for the handbooks. So speed 174, 153. Cruise range is 622 kilometers, 1.9, 30,000 foot ceiling. Takeoff performance, that's good to see. Got a bunch of redacted information here. Stall speeds, flaps up and down. So flaps up. Wow, that's interesting. That the stall speed should be lower with flaps, but it could just be a game thing. Overhead panel, again, good to see. Battery breakers, starters, fuel boosters, mags, superchargers, battery voltage, lights, cabin heater, start procedure. We'll go through that when we go. But again, this is what a checklist should look like. You see flaps, throttle. It's easy to find some because oftentimes you'll you'll do the flaps, you'll look outside. Then you'll easily be able to come back to throttle. If it's a big paragraph, you can't easily go back to where you left off. And it can't, you don't have time to be reading through paragraphs when you're flying. But let's see, we have normal takeoff, short field takeoff, climb, normal landing, short field landing, taxi, shutdown. Let's see. Okay, all right, good. So that's cool. We have other contestants here, so this is cool. Citrus put all the other links to the builds. All right, excellent. So let's go ahead and take a look at the build. All right, so this build's about 60,000, so that's good to see that it is, again, within the rule set and doesn't have to be disqualified. All right, let's take a walk around. So I like the design. It's kind of cool. It has that upper cockpit. I always like planes that have the, that raised cockpit. I always think it's cool design choice. Battery hatch. Okay, so we got a battery hatch there. Very cool. We have a plane access door right there. Let's leave that open as we do a walk around. Looks like a simulated radial in there. Probably real radial as well. That's kind of cool. You got the doubled up wheels on there. That's neat. Got some X-Meld exhaust there for the lookums. That's neat. A little bit monochromatic, but I do like the flag on there. Ramp in the rear. We'll see if there's ramp controls up front. Like the cable for the VHF antenna. Very cool. I like the gear. The gear's neat. Plane access door there. We have battery maintenance hatch. Oh, you have one on both sides. Okay. Interesting there. Let's go ahead and shut this one. We'll go in on the other side. Let's do that. See if I can get this to shut. There we go. All right, good. Let's go ahead and we'll jump inside. So what is that? That is the plane access door to close it. Very neat. All right, let's close that door. All right. See about the magall, and how does one control the ramp right here, I would say. Upper ramp, let's go, okay. Upper ramp, probably need power. All right, loading ramp, so we probably need power on this. All right, look, we have 2 pallets loaded in as required by the challenge. That's good to see. We have cargo bay lights right there. Let's go ahead and jump in. All right, so let's see. We have flipped the battery breaker. All right, let's just do left for right now. Let's go see if we can run that ramp. There we go. Very cool. We got some good sound on it. Good, so we have a nice method to load here. Let's close this up. And I don't know if this is supposed to be magged closed or not. It might be just for loading. What do we have there? Just some decorative item there. Good decoration in here. I think the pipes are a little bit busy, but I wish we could color that. That would be really cool if we had the ability to color that. That would be neat. All right, let's go ahead back in there. All right, like the cockpit here, we've got some tilted seats, which is interesting. I like the general layout of this. This looks cool. All right, let's see. Press left engine magneto. We're going to go ahead and do the left engine magneto there. Flip left engine fuel booster. Hold starter until 450 to 500 RPM. All right, there we go. Starting up. Let's see, where's my RPM? All right, right there. That's good. All right, right. We'll go ahead and turn that one on too. All right, there we go. We have the second engine is up and running. Very good. All right, so we go right to normal takeoff. So again, I have to kind of walk myself through this, which is fine. Got fuel cutoffs, release parking brake right there. Ailerons AD, WS elevator, left, right is rudder, up, down is throttle. Excellent. We like to see it. 1 is the left wheel brake, so I can do differential braking, so I'm pressing the left wheel brake. And 2 is the right wheel brake. So nice to see differential braking. That's a good way to do it. I like that, Citrus. All right, so let's do a short field takeoff. So flaps at 0.3. Let's see, where's my flap indicator? Right there, and then, okay, we'll go up 0.3. All right, 0.3 for flaps. Okay, throttle, 100% hold. Release parking brake. Elevator, 120. So we just rotation. It would be VR. All you need to do is put VR 120. Okay, so it's only differential braking, so that's cool. I like that. That's neat and different. Nice to have something different, and then we'll retract the flaps at 130 knots. All right. So I'm just going to hold both brakes with 1 and 2. All right, let go of the brakes. All right. There we go, and we're off. Nice, very nice. All right, let's see. Flaps retract. First thing you would do is landing gear, so I'd actually change that out. Citrus, do landing gear first. All right, so we have visible gear there. That's cool. All right, and then retract the flaps at 130 knots. Let's see where my airspeed is. 147, so we can retract the flaps. All right, flaps are up. I really like how cramped this cockpit feels. This is what it looks like in real life. Now, you probably wouldn't have this part sticking up there, but it is very cramped, and I like this. This feels to me like a real airplane. Yeah, I flew the other day in a Warrior, and that's about like, minus this little part here. I would not have this part on there. I think, like, looking over the top here as it is, that's about max, but I like this cramped view. It makes me feel like I'm in an airplane and not just in, some bubble canopy. So I really like that. All right, let's go ahead and we'll get ready for landing here. So we'll do short field landing, or we'll do a normal landing. We get a long runway here. So 95 to 100 knots, approach speed, flaps as desired, 0.3 to 0.5. Touchdown, tap the brakes, flaps up. All right, so that would be on after lane checklist for flaps up. Let's go ahead and, so I'm curious, do we go, must be in degrees. So it says 0.3 to 0.5. Let's go to 0.5. Where's my airspeed? Right here. All right. So it wants 95 to 100 knots. So again, as I roll, the plane should yaw as I roll. It is, so that's good. So that's what I want. I don't want to have to kick the rudder the whole time. Now, I'm having a problem with my elevator. I'm full elevator here. It's a little bit heavy, like I'm literally holding full elevator here, and I can't pick the nose up anymore. So that has a little bit of a flight characteristic problem. Because, like, I'm not even down to 100 knots yet. If I go down to 100 knots, we could have problems here. So, yeah, see, like, I can't pick my nose up at 100 knots. So I'd say that's probably a flap issue. Let's go ahead and put the flaps up, see if I can control better. Because I want to be able to get down on speed. So I'm thinking that's what it is you're shifting, you got lift off. I don't know. Could be that. But, yeah, if you're going to say my approach speed's 100 knots, I need to be able to lift my nose at 100 knots. Otherwise, raise the approach speed. So, like, right now, at 100 knots, I cannot lift my nose enough to stay in flight. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll find your approach speed. So right here, let's go try, like, 110. Nah, 110's too low. All right, 110's too low. 125 is your approach speed. So I would not go slower than 125 in this plane. You lose all controllability. So 125 is your approach speed. That's what I would do. Gear, you have no gear on your landing checklist. You have a normal landing. Approach speed 95 to 105 knots. Flaps as desired. Touchdown. What am I touching down with? Right, you didn't put on the list to do gear. So I did it myself. Make sure you put that on your landing checklist. That is literally the most important thing in your landing checklist. You can land without flaps and be fine if you have a long enough runway. You cannot be landing without gear. Not good. So I would, personally, I would go and make sure you put that on the list. But I now have the gear down, so we're good there. So a little bit of a nitpick on the checklist. But again, it's important. You do not want to be landing with the gear up. But I do like the way it flies. It feels heavy. I love like how you feel like you're actually in a real airplane. It's cramped. I kind of want to. This is inspiring me to go back to like my latest airplane and make it look more cramped inside because I like that. It feels realistic to me. All right, we're gonna rotate around, just land on the other side of the runway. This part here, like I said, I would get rid of that. It's like you can't see out the front. That's not good. You know, I like that it's cramped and it's a little bit of restricted visibility, but like that's excessive. Like I'm struggling to find the airport at this point because I'm completely blind over here. So I would personally get rid of that. Whatever this is sitting on top, I would get rid of that. Because I just can't see. Alright, let's see. I get this approach sucks because I can't see. Yeah, but definitely 100 knots. This plane is not. I can't pick my nose up at 100 knots. I need about 125 is when I get controllability. Like 125 is your approach speed, which is fine. There are plenty of planes that, you know, flown jets that's their approach speed. You know, if you went 100 knots in that jet, you would crash because you would stall. So, all right, now we'll tap the brakes. Yeah, I'm literally blind over here because of this. Again, personally, cool thing to have it this confined in here. I like that you have it raised up like this to kind of constrict the view like it would be in real life. I would get rid of whatever this is, this XML piece in there. It just makes it so that I'm blind. But I'm glad you went with the up-down for your throttle because I was able to use WSAD left, right, all to control all the control surfaces that I need to, and be able to control my thrust, which is important because, you know, I've talked about this a bunch of times, but we'll talk about one more time. Is as you tip your nose down, gravity is helping you get toward the ground. You're also angling the propellers towards the ground. It is going to increase your airspeed. So you then need to reduce your throttle. And so as you push down on W, you need to simultaneously be reducing thrust. So you're going to have to take your finger off W to push 2, and and then when you pitch up, it's the opposite. When you pitch up, you're working against gravity, you're going to lose speed. You need to be able to increase thrust to maintain airspeed, and so you need to take your finger off the W and S key again. So I'm glad you went with this control scheme, Citrus. That works well. I'll put the parking brake on here. I like the design of it. I like the raised cockpit on it. That's really cool. I really like how compact it is. Like I said, I would get rid of this XML piece, and I would love the view in here. The only thing breaking the view for me is this one XML piece here. I love the dash, though. I love the raised dash. Really cool cockpit and really cool build. Thanks for sharing. So the first winner is the points winner, and that is going to be the ATR 72 by Zizo. So this really fit the bill. This was themed as a cargo plane. It's FedEx. It has a nice side loading door, easily handles the pallets. I like the general layout of it. I think Zizo did a great job on both the workshop page, which was very helpful in being able to understand how he wanted his craft operated. Put in a lot of work there. Things like taking the overhead panel, the center console, labeling those things. He had good checklists. The plane flew well. Like some of them, I would add the ability that when you roll the plane, it naturally has a yawing force as the upper wing tries to go faster than the lower wing, which is how you turn IRL. So I'd like to see more people using the tilt sensor of the physics sensor to add a little bit of rudder so that it will turn properly. IRL in a twin engine like this, you don't need to kick the rudder. You just roll and you turn. So that would be nice, but great job, Zizo. You are the points winner. And the next winner is going to be Captain's favorite. So this one was tough choice. I had two that were pretty much neck and neck. I kept having to go back and rewatch the videos and see which one. But Captain's favorite here is going to be by York. So this was a really cool plane. Some things that really kicked this plane off was the paint scheme. Really fantastic on this. Really like the paint scheme. Great work on the nose here. The nose is very well done. I like the cockpit seating. I preferred Citrus's cramped cockpit a little bit, but I think one of the things that put that down was just the fact that it was difficult to see with that little bit of XML in there on Citrus's build, but I really like the cockpit. I think York did a fantastic job on the engineer station. This was really fun to come in, go to the engineer station first, get the engine started up there. Very old school, very cool. Like the detailing here inside of the bay. Really cool plane. I would have really liked to see if York had put in some better checklists. A lot of stuff was missing there. A lot of paragraphs, so it was hard for me to know like how you wanted me to interact with your build, so I didn't. I did whatever was on the workshop page. But really cool build, and this is Captain's favorite. And as usual, the next winner is up to you guys. So you're going to have a week to be able to vote on your community favorites. So make sure you go and you let your voice be heard on which one of these great builds was your favorite for the build challenge mic. Special thanks to everybody who participated in the challenge. This was a fun challenge. Really cool builds here. A lot of different styles and a lot of different approaches to getting the challenge completed. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.